I wish you guys the best with your Yum Yum podcast.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Ryan.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I am glad that we are here because it is time. We've been on a little bit of a break. We've been reconciling what is about to happen here. This is the beginning
Of the end.
Yeah, very, very sad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
That's part of why I pushed this back.
Yes, Rachel is responsible for many of things, such as pushing this back, but also for naming the podcast Yum Yum. She's actually the one responsible.
No, don't you dare besmirch me like that. Don't you fucking dare.
She said to me many years ago.
Ryan,
she said to me,
I will not entertain this bit at all. At all. I agreed after you suggested it because I knew better than to argue with you about what we were going to call this podcast. You'd already decided that we were going to do a podcast of some sort, and you wanted to get into sci-fi television most likely, and then we watched that damn fucking fated episode of Star Trek Discovery where a performer was paid to say yum yum in a context completely unrelated to food.
What? What do you mean unrelated to food? What other kind of context would there be? I'm not a king, so I may not know.
You're getting under my skin really quickly, and I'm like, is it you just going for it?
No.
Or is it just because we haven't been here in a little while?
I think it's that. I think what we need to do is ground ourselves. So we are a husband and wife team, as you can tell from this absolutely electric chemistry right here in your ears. And we review episodes of science fiction television. We started with Star Trek Discovery, as you were saying, where there was an amazing moment that you and I agreed would be a great name for a podcast. And we've gone through many different shows. And we're here to talk about Killjoys. And not only that, Run,
Yala, run.
Which is the premiere of the 5th and final season of the series. So, what happened in Run, Yala, Run?
Here is my summary. I went for something relatively simple. Yala and Johnny's marriage is on the rocks, while Dav is hot on Jack's tail. Meanwhile,
yeah.
Zeph is refusing to shower.
Okay, there you go. That is a perfect summary.
It's really not.
It's perfect. Don't you undermine yourself. See, first you start undermining by pushing us back. Then you further undermine yourself by refusing to take accountability for the title of the pod. And now this. I don't think it's right. Don't
try and sneak that one in there.
I don't.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We bring the Yum Yum perspective to each of our shows. And for Killjoys, it's the Yum Yum laugh because it's a damn funny show.
You sound like you're ripping your sides open from how much you're laughing at it. That's why Rachel's got the gritted teeth effect going on. Killjoys is a damn funny show. Mm-hmm. And that moment from Star Trek Discovery was very funny. And we like to look at those humorous details in Killjoys because there's so many to choose from. And in this premiere, it is no different because we have Michelle Lovretta back in the writer's chair. And she is very good with these zany situations and these over-the-top lines. And there's one answer here, and it is when Johnny thinks that the plot of the show is some sort of sexy role play, and he thinks that Dutch is a delightful little pervert, and I thought that was a very funny scene. We react to Killjoys. You can find those videos on our YouTube and Patreon, and we were laughing so hard at that whole entire bit. It just kept going and going and going, and it was very good. What about you? What was a moment in this episode that made you have to hold those sides before they ripped any further?
I'm going to go with Zeph's line of her muttering to herself, I would sex destroy you.
She had a lot of horny lines. Another interesting quirk of Killjoys' show is that a lot of episodes include the word bitch, and it's often pointed, it's often used in a very aggressive manner. It's something we noticed very early on, and now that we're here in the final days of Killjoys, I think it's important to ask, Rachel, yes, this started off as a nice little running bit, but did you think that this would have the legs it has had? That this would be something that truly did carry on throughout the show?
I'm not surprised. I'm surprised by the way that it has ebbed and flowed over time. Unlike Nutshots, which were hot and heavy to start with and have pretty much completely disappeared. There's no Nutshot in this episode. I didn't even bother to count how many episodes since.
That's a shame. You'll get back to that count.
And it was Lovretta. But I can't remember that many bitches.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that there actually was a fair amount. We got 3 bitches in this episode, which is a decent number, and especially after coming off of season 4, which deprived us of bitches. And there were some quality ones in this episode as well. So it wasn't just we got the nice trifecta here. They were all decent uses of it. And I had a big smile on my face. I was just rubbing my hands together and going, oh yeah, we're back, baby. And we're back, as we said, with Michelle Lovretta, but she's not the only person who's returning. We have a returning director, Peter Stebbings, someone who has been a recurring director in the series, someone who's been sprinkled out. He was in season 1. He was in the episode, he was the director of the episode in season 1, Come the Rain.
I was going to say, Here Comes the Rain.
Yeah, something along those lines, where it had the evil acid rain outside and it forced these characters to bond.
An evil rain again?
No, there's all these dastardly rains all over the place. And Peter Stebbings will direct the next episode as well, and that will be him done for the series. But yes, he's been a reliable voice. He was the season 2 finale director as well. So yeah, they've come to him every once in a while, and I have to say his direction was cool. It was stylish. It was badass. There was lots of creative uses of the camera, and you were noting down when we were watching this that the lighting in this episode was particularly striking, especially on Lucy.
Yeah, because it's different, but it's not calling attention to it being different because this is the ladies' version of things. So Lucy is Davin's ship, so it feels different. It's a familiar space, but it's just not quite normal. And Westerly is similar because we're in the Royal, but it's not Pre's bar, and like there's still all these aspects of Old Town that's still Old Town. Like the infrastructure is still the same, but it isn't quite right.
I also really appreciate with this episode, it takes the big swing as well of we are seeing various locations of Old Town, something that I really feel we haven't seen much of since season 2, maybe season 3. Old Town as a physical location has been much more narrowed in our previous episodes. It's been mainly Pre's bar. And season 4, we were mainly on Lucille, going to different places, different ships. We really didn't get to visit a
We
lot
moved beyond the quad and
Mhm.
Old Town. The plot expanded.
And
So
now,
we spent less and less time there.
And now that the lady is in our world, is in the world, and she's changing things, and as we find out, her dastardly plan is to terraform Westerly, it makes sense from a narrative perspective that this premiere episode is going to show us all of these different little locations of Old Town that we maybe have seen or haven't seen before, showing us the new status quo while mixing it together with what we are familiar with.
It's not just the rain. Temps are rising, oxygen levels are plummeting. It's like our whole biosphere is having some sort of hissy fit.
I think that it's still high strung in the way that her episodes are, but I think that she has gotten better at managing all of the different balls that are in the air. And I think the key to that is that we're now attached to the characters.
Yeah, and I find with Michelle's episodes, there's a lot of things to keep track of, and the pacing is so fast that it can be a bit dizzying in a way. And this episode has so much going on, and I was shocked that it was still a 44-minute long episode. It's still an average length episode because it felt longer, but in a positive way, that everything that they were putting into this episode was all a part of the story. Nothing felt like just fat. Nothing felt like fluff. Nothing felt like you could take this out, or this was an indulgence
And
on the writer's part.
Not feeling the mechanics of like, now is the time for this, or we're going to check in with that. We've got to pull on that thread, which things like checking in on Pri and Garrett and their relationship, that could really feel like that, but it doesn't.
And with the finale of season 4 leaving us on this cliffhanger of all of these characters we know are now in different scenarios and different settings and just different personas in a way, with Dutch and Johnny being married and Dutch being the one in charge of the Royal. There's this factory. Davin is still a Killjoy. And Garrett works at the factory with Johnny. There was like, oh, okay, so how much has changed? And this episode very smartly and wisely knows what people to focus on, because we don't get certain people in this one. We don't know where Turin's at. Even though we saw him at the end of last episode, we didn't need him in this one. Same with Fancy as well. And no, hints of what's happening with so many other people in this, and yet the ones we're focusing in on, it's made very deep because we are given the time, and yet there's so much setup. There's so much being set up here, whether it's this plot thing or whether it's this kind of foreshadowing of events to come or whatever the case. And when we were watching it and discussing it for our reaction, I think it's agreed upon that the premieres to most seasons of Killjoys are very solid. They're very tightly put together.
Yes, and there is a lot that they manage to pack in, and sometimes it feels overstuffed with how much they're trying to fit. But this has a very strong through line, which we're with Dutch. We're following Dutch's journey of becoming awake and then trying to wake other people up.
I do have an issue with this one, though, which is information. We get so much information, and in a way that's actually very good, and it's surprising. Like, you get told straight up, like, okay, and so does Dutch, that, okay, this is what's happening, this is how the lady's doing it, this is how it's sustaining itself, this is her this is her end game plan. Like, they wanted to terraform this planet for something else. Bam, 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 bam,
We
bam.
see a creature.
Yeah, we get information and the characters get information, and that's fine. I don't mind that. My issue with the way that information is delivered is actually I feel like the characters get too much information at the same time we do. So there's always the delicate balancing act of we, the audience, can see things and understand things before the characters catch up to it. But in this episode, Dutch and Zeph know certain pieces of information at the same time we do. And then later, when those things come up, it's like the characters are relearning them or learning them for the first time, but we, the audience, already understood it. Like the rain, for instance, being a part of the lady's design felt pretty clear to me before we...
Long before. And
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, okay, this is just so that it doesn't work.
And I think that's fine if it's a thing we knew,
But
they didn't.
Yeah.
But they did. They talked about it. They mentioned these things. And with what's
It's the thing that makes Zeph twig that something's off.
Yeah, so that was my big bugbear of the episode. Was it's a tightly strung together episode. It makes you exhilarated. It makes you want to see where things are going. It takes its moments to have deep character stuff and humor and heart, the rest of the things that we love of this series. But the way that information was handled was a little bit wobbly in some ways. But also for you, Rachel, someone who often kind of gets frustrated with setup episodes, how did you feel about how much this just put on the table and just said, this is what we're playing with?
I really appreciated it as a change of pace in a way. Like, it's not something that Killjoys has never done before, but often they'll play in that sandpit in a different way.
So, the main thrust of the episode is that our characters are not the people we know them to be and they know themselves to be. They are here, but we are seeing how they are being played differently. And as a starting point of a season, especially the last season, that is very tantalizing. It's always kind of fun to see different versions of our characters. Where do you want to go from here when it comes to this central conceit of the episode?
I guess go through a little bit more what we see and feel of these characters, because in lots of ways there's parts of the people that we know in them but changed up. Davin is still a Killjoy. He is still competent. He's still knowledgeable. Because the lady sees an advantage in that.
Yes. He's charismatic, handsome, cocky man as well.
Yes. His relationship with Johnny is similar in lots of ways too. That jealousy and admiration still comes through.
But they don't have that familial connection and bond to keep them on the same side in this new world.
Yeah. And that deep bond between Dutch and Johnny is there, but it's turned romantic.
And it's shown throughout the episode that as much as their setup is that it's romantic, it doesn't maintain because both characters inherently don't believe in this, and it's causing the relationship, their marriage is falling apart. They have these bickering moments, and the real moments where they connect is when they say, let's do something platonic, which is very good.
Yeah. And Pri is still there, being both confident and insecure and protective.
He's the man that's in charge. He is a rack agent in this version, and he's the top dog.
He runs Old Town the way that... Who used to? Big Joe.
Yeah. That actually works real well. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And we even get Garrett in this episode as well. his version is like he's a schmuck. He's hitting on this one woman.
Well, no, that's his fiance, isn't it?
Yeah, but the way that the episode plays, it feels like it's super like they first meet, they're in love, it's his fiance. Like I honestly feel like if we rewatch this episode, if you found out that he met her for the first time, I wouldn't be surprised just how irresponsible his character is and reckless. But then they have this nice little backstory that kind of mirrors what Pre's real backstory is, so they're showing that there's a connection between these two, and then we get it more directly with them. Like it's interesting, and I really like it. But these are the character things we're talking about, but like, what do you get out of not only, oh, this is the lady's villainous plan, but on like a greater thematic character writing level, like what's the purpose and intent and outcome of doing this setup, this scenario? Like, what do you get out of it other than like, ooh, it's fun to see Pre with hair?
Is that how much hair he grows in 43 days?
That's an insane amount.
Yeah, but like it's been
Yeah, did you see Turin's hair last season? And Zeph's this season too, actually. Yeah.
So like anyway, that's not the question that you asked me. I think that it's hard to get into what it actually is in the show, because I'm more interested in what it means for me as a viewer. But it is the lady following through on what she said of like, if you take somebody's memories and you take a hold of them, then you own them. And she thinks that she owns Old Town, that she owns the whole moon because she's got control over them, but she misunderstands the nature of humanity to a fault. These expressions and these understandings cannot be suppressed forever. But she's got a system where there's checks and balances and follow through to try and keep that wheel going.
She's awake. How?
I warned you. Never underestimate my girls. I wasted a lifetime doing that.
What I think is fascinating is the lady's point of view has been that you are made from your memories. Your personhood, your essence, your soul is your memories. And if I control that, I control you.
And if you don't have them, then you're not yourself.
But
you're not anything.
Yeah.
You're my pawn.
But this episode, and I think the series as a whole, pushes against that very notion that there is something within each person that is them. And we see that play out with each one of these characters. And I think that was the real driving force of this scenario and this episode, is to really hammer that home of, although the lady may have absolute power in the moment in terms of the grand scheme of what she believes, she's already being undermined by what we have, whether it is someone like Zeph has woken up in a way, or Dutch directly wakes up. But we see like Johnny and Dutch are in a marriage, right? They love each other, they wake up, they kiss, they have their romantic things, but it is ever so clear that this isn't truly who they are, and there are these little cracks in it that come from these people, because it's very much made that the lady using this system is just keeping people in check, but you see that it slips in different ways, like with Johnny and Dutch's relationship. And I want to know more about how you felt about this particular aspect of the series, and how it is dancing with the idea of seeing these two characters romantically entangled, which is something that the series has always been very keenly aware could be an aspect, but never really goes there.
Since the pilot.
Yeah.
And it feels wrong. And it's so satisfying when Dutch kisses Johnny and is just like, ah,
Mm-hmm.
because it feels so not them. And it is an interesting exploration to have of these characters, you know, role playing another version of themselves and how sort of their true selves peek through, and exploring the faults in the lady's understanding of things.
We've had many conversations and high praise of the platonic relationship between these two characters. Does this tarnish that? Like, giving this type of situation between the two of them of like, you know, there's a case to be made of, oh, this is feeding the shippers out there, or like you're playing with this in a way
I had
that you
thought too.
and does that, you know, how does that
It doesn't
go down?
tarnish it for me, really, because the acknowledgement of that is also part of the exploration that they're doing. There is this understanding that they are deeply connected, and Johnny wants to make it work, and Dutch wants to go with her gut.
I am always a bit iffy when shows do this, especially in this age now where they're deeply aware of how the internet, how the fans react and what fans want, and giving them those things. That it's a very delicate balancing act. Like sometimes shows lean too heavy into giving the fans what they want or having contempt for the fans.
Or dangling, jingling the keys of what they want.
Yes, but I think this does it just right, because again, you don't get the sense that these characters actually feel this way and that the show genuinely feels this way for these characters. And that's made extra clear when Dutch is in the same room as Davin. When they have their connection, a physical connection at 1.2 that unlocks a bunch of memories for her, that's real. That's more genuine. That's the more romantic and sexual and charged stuff of this episode. And you get that too with Garrett and Pre, when those two characters have their conversation together and there's this, you know, bond and connection, and there's this thing within their relationship of like, oh, we can't be this way openly, and yet here they are in the open sharing this moment. And I think those little touches make it feel more than just, hey, look at us, we've got the two actors of Johnny and Dutch kissing in this scene because you people out there want to make a gift set of that, which is very much how a lot of TV shows work, sadly. Like there is that point where they know. And I do think there's an element of that here, but it doesn't tarnish it for me yet. I'll be curious to see how we go with episodes to come, because this isn't resolved yet.
No, they are very much still stuck in the ladies' world.
Pre and Garrett, we've already said a bit about them, but you did not even recognize Pre when he first appeared in this episode.
I did not. I like that he's in uniform, because I think Garrett had a line about... Oh, no. Pre had a line about him, like, staying in the guard outfit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I like that is a sort of a link that you can see there, as well as, you know, it being an outfit that we've seen Fancy in a version of.
Yes, this Killjoys outfit that, you know, most of the characters don't wear fully. They wear them unbuttoned parts, just vests, and Pre, he's the full gear on, but it's faded. It's old. It's not his. Seeing Pre both in an outfit that's very, like, regal almost and proper, but also it's not up to his standards. It's not colorful.
No. It's not the right fit for him. And I think that is a huge part of why I didn't recognize him, is because he is really carrying himself differently.
I really liked your point of view on how he very much feels like Big Joe, that he is this moral man, he is this knowledgeable figure, everyone respects him, everyone has reverence for him, but he is world weary and he's just trying to make his way in life. And I think that is such a interesting way to play this character who's often so confident.
Doesn't know how to get happiness.
Why didn't you tell me a Killjoy came to see you?
How'd you know?
This is my town. I know everything.
Well, nothing much to tell. Everything's fine.
You know you get that dimple when you lie.
Davin, he is still a Killjoy. He's on his own.
Lone wolf.
He's lone wolf. And one of the questions that you didn't really raise up when the new status quo was enforced at the end of last season, but it is immediately something that the episode wants you to ask about, is Lucy. Does she get affected by this? She's a machine.
And I love the explanation of they've tried to, but because of Johnny's auto backup, they haven't been able to succeed.
And she's getting smarter about it. She's like, I know how I have to hide and play along. But she doesn't lie. Like, there's so much to say about Davin, but Lucy has always been consistently just a really well executed and realized minor background character. She's had her big moments, but she's always...
Rewatching it has intensified your love of Lucy.
I've always liked Lucy, but they've always done a great job at like riding that line of like how quote unquote human is she.
Yeah, I think you're enjoying that a lot more on the rewatch because you know that that's something to look out for, and you enjoyed it on the first pass. So coming back and seeing things and noticing the ways that they're more subtly doing things as well.
I don't want to bring the mood down, but I think also having covered Star Trek Discovery makes me appreciate this as well, because they basically have a similar character with Zora in that show, but they never gave the time or even thought it through. And it's not to say like Lucy in this series is like a huge character. She's had her big moments, but like they've always been keeping her in mind. Like they don't drop the ball with Lucy. Like there are moments where it's like, oh, Lucy, you could have done this or that. But I'm talking about like in the series as a whole, they've always known what level do you play this computer character? How human is she? How much autonomy does she have? How much is she willing to like risk herself or the others, and on it goes. And this was a nice bit of tension in the episode because she's the one that helps breach Johnny at the beginning of this, where she's the one that he is the, like, that's his connection, and it nearly snaps him out of it.
And I think that that is also another reason why the lady cannot fully separate these people out, because if they do come connected, then it is a break. And I do wonder if that was like part of the adjustment period that we didn't see, of like the resetting of the board, of trying to keep them apart but failing.
Yeah.
And then being like, okay, well, they're going to find each other, so they need to have some explanation for these thoughts, for these feelings. Otherwise, it fucks up everything.
Davin has been brought in, and we were given this as the cap off of the last season, that he is a Killjoy on a warrant to hunt down Jack. Bring him in. And we reveal in this episode, in this fake narrative world of the lady, that Jack is Dutch and Johnny's kid. Like, they have an investment in Jack, and that they, once aware that Jack is being looked for, they will want to look for him as well, which I think is like such a masterstroke of villainy on the ladies' part of like,
Yeah.
I'll make sure that I throw Jack into their
Gotta
world
use
as well.
everything. And that is part of the fun of resetting the board in this way. And it is fun in a different way to see the people that are on the outside of this situation, namely Dulcea and Jack. And Dulcea managed to get a new haircut.
New outfit too. It's been a little while. Yeah, they're, for the majority of the episode, they're the ones we are shown to be aware that things have changed and that they have not been altered by the lady, and that it gives us at least a glimpse that maybe it's just Westerly that's been changed, but I get the feeling like it's elsewhere too. But so what are they up to though? What are Jack and Dulcea doing in this episode?
They are on Arkin. They are in Red 9. Jack seems to have gotten a better hold of how to use his foresight abilities. And they needed Dutch's DNA. And something else. They got something else. What did they get?
They got her fingerprints from her gun and her DNA, so they needed both of those.
And now they're going off somewhere else.
They made it feel like they're going beyond the quad. They
Yes.
made that clear. Like, they're going way out. So who knows
They're
what
on
they're
a
up to.
long journey. They make that very clear. And I'm not sure where they're going or what that is about yet.
I thought a very touching moment, and I thought the performance was really great. Jack sees Davin again, and Davin doesn't recognize him other than as a warrant. And he said that, you know, you promised that you wouldn't forget. And that was a very, very touching scene, very heartfelt. And I thought the performance really sold it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on both sides of it as well, because you can tell that there's something that's being pulled on in Davin's mind. But because he gave up his memories to protect Jack, it's not there to be pulled on in the same way.
The series has always managed very well when it comes to their main hitting cast members. And to have this character exist at all, Jack, could be a huge fumble depending how you write it and depending the performance, but both of them come together really well. And this moment here is just a fine example of it. And I am curious to see where they go from here and how it all comes together. I remember bits of it. No, I remember.
I'm like, you know.
But I mean, in terms of like how I feel about Jack, because when I first watched the show, Jack was fine. You know, I was like, oh, he's fine. Like, you know, he's not anything. I'm not here for Jack. You know what I mean? But on this watch through, I really am invested in not just Jack, but Davin being a father and Dulcea being a parent as well. Like, they even make a joke about co-parenting's a bitch and whatnot in this, which is quite good. But I am curious to see how I feel about this going forward, because I'm already feeling different about this. I'm much more emotionally invested, and I think a part of it is, you know, looking at this more closely. When I initially watched Killjoys, it was just like a fun, fluffy show, which it still is. It's still a good, fun, fluffy, fun time show, but there's a lot more emotional complexities to it. And
there's depth here too.
And this is one of them.
Speaking of things that I definitely don't know yet, somebody wakes up Dutch.
It's a big plan too. They make sure to lock her in.
Yeah, so that she can't get to the showers and she can't get in the rain, so she can't be reset.
And it's not Zeph.
No. And I feel like my mind has leapt to it's Anila because when we see the lady talking to Klein near the end of the episode, because Klein's here.
Oh, we'll talk about him.
Yeah. He says, my daughters are affecting your plans.
Mm-hmm. You underestimated them.
Yes. And I feel like if she had Anila, she would be flaunting that. Like the lady would be flaunting that she had Anila. And Anila also had the weapon last time I remember, which is what's in the red box.
Yeah, because that's what wakes up Dutch is that we see this red box and that's very, very telling as well of Dutch has many moments of flashpoints for her. The relationship with Johnny, she has flashes of that. We see the moment where she touches Dav and she has all these flashes, but what really tips her over is Klein, is the red box, is this device, is this weapon to kill Hullins.
It's too visceral, it's too interconnected, it's too emotionally complicated. So it rises, like her cortisol rises, and the spell breaks.
You're my failsafe, Zeph. And if I don't come back, find me. Make me believe.
What I find odd is how Zeph is and isn't fully under the spell.
What do they need? Like, she gets told who she is by Dutch. Like, I don't know what else she needs. Like, they make it a case where the other characters need like a little token, a little MacGuffin. Like, Dutch needed the object, the red box. Johnny needs the wedding ring,
the dog tags.
Yeah, and a hologram of singing for Pri. Like, they need a MacGuffin, a thing, which I understand from from a TV, that's very TV, Like, it's very good for a script to be like, here's the little MacGuffin that wakes up your memory, and like that item is so core to who you are. But I also feel like Zeph is so information driven that it's kind of weird that she isn't already awake when we meet her, and that she's doing this as like a way to kind of pass through the world. But instead, it's like she isn't. She's just a conspiracy theorist homeless lady that is somehow aware. Like, that's the thing where it's like, even though I may have an issue with this, I kind of do like that as an idea of like, because of who Zeph is deep down in her core, she would be the person who would be picking at the logistics of this. Because what was the first episode we met her in? Do you remember? The nerd test.
Yeah, I was like, it was the trial.
And what was that scenario?
A no-win scenario.
But what was it? It was fake.
Yeah.
And she knew it was fake.
Mm-hmm.
She figured that out. She just intuited it. She used her genius to figure it out.
Endangered everybody in the process.
But knew it wasn't really, because it wasn't real.
Yeah, she saw through it.
So it makes sense that character, the way we introduced her, would be this in this scenario. But also, like, why isn't that good enough for you? Why is that still an issue in terms of, like, how come she hasn't woken up?
Because she seemed like she has all of these things of herself. She seems to be minimizing her interactions with the way that the lady is exerting control. And she's living outside the system as much as she can, but she doesn't know everything.
There was this mind-boggling moment where Dutch tells her, like, hey, you're the most rational bitch I know, and we're going to figure this out. I know what I need to do. I'm going to wake up more people to help our cause. And we were both like, why didn't you wake up Zeph?
Yeah, like,
She's
fully
right here.
unlock her.
Fully unlock her. And there's this whole conversation about, like, you're my fail-safe. If something goes wrong, you're here. It's like, how much of a, like, if you wanted to be a proper fail-safe, you need to wake her up fully.
Yeah, it's just like they decided not to do that because we've got to do this other thing. But they didn't clarify it enough either way. It just was muddy.
Again, I don't mind the Zeph stuff too much, but that's where the way that information being treated in the episode starts to buckle and crack with how we are presented it. It is the characters are presented the information at the same time we are, but then they are behind us for some reason in the knowledge and their choices. Like, if you were Dutch, you would not do the things that she did in the way she did them. You would probably do those after succeeding at waking up Zeph, somebody who's active and wants to be awake. Then you would go and get the boys together and, bring them into the fold. But it doesn't do that because we need Zeph to wake up later, I guess? For her to be the one that runs in the rain and figures out that the rain is the key to this.
But I'm also like, but why? Like, she knew that something was off with the rain in the first place.
The show is so good at paying attention to little details, but then it will kind of be a little bit loosey-goosey with these key details of an episode itself. And that can be that can be ultra frustrating. Like, for instance, a neat little detail that I did confirm is we see that the factories are doing some nefarious thing. They're pouring green smoke into the sky. And we see a man pushing a cart full of things, and that man is Carl, the guy who worked for the company.
And then when Johnny sleeps at Carl's place,
and he's a stinky guy, and it's like they got that character back, they got that actor back. That's neat, and it works so well because every time we've seen him, it's always been some version of this thing. Like, he's a schmuck guy who's working on the fringes of things, but also he's deeply involved in whatever the major storyline is. And it's just, that's an interesting thing. But then also, like, at the end of the 4th season, the green has been killed, right? It's gone. None of it exists now. It exploded and turned clear. Then when we go to Arkan, the green is there. like you see underneath the surface, it's all lit up. It's like, come on, guys. I know you're reusing an asset, but, like, couldn't you just turn the green off for that? Couldn't you do that? Like, do you remember the rules you made?
Yeah. It's more frustrating because they are so consistent with other things.
And, we have the typical, we've got to put all the pieces on the board here and make sure that you have questions. And one of them is, what are these little creatures that Carl is putting into this factory that he is helping put forth?
My immediate thought is that they are they are the lady species that went extinct.
They are terraforming westerly. So it's the way you would read that, right?
Yeah, that's where my mind has leapt to.
It is actually shocking that they straight up just say, oh yeah, they're terraforming. Like, straight up in this episode. Like, that's something usually you would leave till later, but they're not pussyfooting around. Like, this is the final season. That's not
what we're wondering about. We're cutting to the chase with that thing, and we're going to do something which I'm assuming will be more interesting.
Yeah.
Instead.
We will have to wait and see. But I think the final thing we have to discuss is the lady herself.
She's so fucking cocky. She thinks that she knows everything, and it's the body of a child saying it, so it's just unsettling.
And funny. There's a lot of humor to Klein being lectured to by a child, a 7-year-old girl.
Oh! And that child's doing some good acting.
Yeah, she has the great child voice going on where you can feel like she's missing some teeth in her mouth. It's so unsettling, but also cute. She's got a funny little sci-fi outfit on now. She's like, the lady's got a little outfit.
It feels very Dune.
she's no longer on Old Town or Westerly. She's in space as well. They have Klein on the ship, on, you would imagine, or one of those ships, but definitely the one that we recognize to be the Hullen Armada ship that the Rack was occupying last season.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense that she would want that, because she was so angry when Anila took it from her.
Yeah, the lady's cocky. I think it's a bold, creative choice to make it that the big, overarching baddie is in the body of a little girl. And that's cool and all. And you mentioned Dune. Yes, there's some Aaliyah influence you can feel in that. But also, there's something potent about Klein being lectured to, but still lecturing a child. A girl, a little girl, because that's been his thing from the very beginning. Was he's the master, he's the one that teaches the little girl what's right and wrong. And now in this scenario, that's still at play for him. He's ever so cocky and calm and reassured with himself, even though this creature in front of him that's inhabiting the body of a little girl is the be-all and end-all.
Yeah, like he died in the pursuit of trying to destroy her. And now they're both on the outside. At least, like, I am assuming that it's legitimately the outside and that it's not going to be a world inside the world thing.
Any thoughts on Klein? What is he? You said it, he died.
Yeah, I think Anila pulled the memory out of the green the same way that she did with Dutch.
Okay. And yet yeah, that makes sense. And he's also just aware of things going on, even though he has no information. He's stuck on this ship, but he's aware. He's like,
He's still a smart little boy.
He really is. I put all my eggs in this basket, and I know it's a really good basket. My ends do justify the means, by the way. Thank you very much. And the lady's like, damn it. Okay, fine. I'm leaving.
She's all alone now.
Then why are you so scared of her?
This episode is a yum yum. Our scale is yum is bad, yum yum is good.
Yum yum.
It was a great opener. It sets up things. It is a little bit messy in parts, but I forgive it because it doesn't ruin anything for me. It just was a bit messy. And when you're dealing with this many things, it is going to probably be not as clean as you want it to be.
And I think that's okay. We are very harsh on some episodes of this show and other shows if they're messy. And I think what that comes down to is if the other elements that we enjoy are not up to par. And this is still that very much so. Michelle Lovretta, for me, has always had that be the case, where her episodes can be a little rough around the edges. They can have some sloppiness here and there, or they can be too much. But she never...
Some corners, not as crisp on that 90-degree angle.
But she rarely, if ever, strays from the path of what's important about the show you're watching, which is you are caring about these characters and these themes. I give this a yum yum.
Yum yum.
So, next time on our podcast, we shall be watching and then discussing episode 2 of season 5, Blame It on the Rain. What do you think will be happening on Blame It on the Rain?
Well, still on Westerly. I assume that we're going to pick up pretty close to when we left off with them trying to capture Dutch, or like arrest Dutch. And I think Zeph is going to try and sabotage the whole system. of the showers and the rain.
Okay. Any other exterior things, people we didn't see in this episode, or people we did see only briefly?
I want fancy. I want fancy. I don't think we'll get fancy, but I want him.
What do you think he is in the ladies' reimagining of him?
Sexer.
They did mention the sexes. They did mention them.
Yep.
Turin. We didn't see him in this episode.
No.
We know what he is, but we didn't see him.
No, and I do wonder when we will see him again. It doesn't feel like an if, but a when. And I do wonder if we will see Klein again so soon.
That's a big question mark. We will have to wait and see. Until then, Rachel, where can people find us and how can people support the podcast?
They can find us under yumyumpod or yumyumpodcast on the various social medias. Email address is yumyumpod@gmail.com. If you want extra content from the two of us, then head over to Patreon, where there is an extensive back catalogue and regularly new content as well.
We have so much going on over there. We're looking at Pride and Prejudice adaptations. We've talked about the Tron franchise. That's right, Tron. And we're gearing up to look at the Muppets cinematic franchise. So head on over to our Patreon. Get these episodes early as well as all of that good stuff. We have a community Discord as well. Lots of people are chattering away in there. Lots of conversations about Silo at the moment. The TV series Silo, which I have not watched. And I don't know. Is it any good? Let us know. But that's it from us. Thank you all so much for listening along and joining us on our journey through Killjoys. But that's it for us. We have to go now because we need to rinse off. We need to get decontaminated.